All right, rivalry week rolls on with kind of an underrated rivalry, in my opinion. Nebraska Creighton, in-state rivalry. Here's my fun fact opening up this video. Nebraska is currently running the nation's longest active win streak. They're 8-0 this season, and they were 4-0 in the college basketball crown last year. So they've won 12 straight.
Extended 12-game winning streak.
Extended
Unbelievable.
12 game winning streak. I'm Tanner. That's Subi. Welcome back to Sleepers Media. Creighton's 5-3, but like their losses have been good. I mean, they lost to Gonzaga, they lost to Baylor, they lost to Iowa State, and of course, they're a little banged up. They lost Jackson McAndrew for the season, which really sucks. And Hudson Greer, he's been out. I think he's just going to miss a little bit of time, though. I believe it's a foot injury. Now, why is Nebraska 8-0 this season? Ryan Mast. I mean, the Huskers offense is just ripping right now. He's averaging 18 points and 3.5 assists per game on 55, 43, 75 splits. With him on the court, Fred Hoiberg can just run his 5-out dribble handoff motion offense through him. And Nebraska, they generate a boatload of high quality catch and shoot opportunities. Sanford, Frager, and Lawrence are taking advantage. Sanford right now is shooting 37% from three on 8.5 attempts per game. Have you seen anything particular in the early season with Nebraska? I'm bullish on this team.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Look, they haven't lost. You can say what you want about the schedule, but what would you rather them do? Lose? Like
Yeah.
a program like Nebraska, they're building towards trying to win an NCAA tournament game, right? Like, or trying to make a second weekend. And so it's ripe for the picking, especially in this rivalry game with a Creighton team that is banged up, but also you don't have to deal with Ryan Kalkbrenner anymore. You're not having to deal with Stevie Ashworth anymore, right? Like Trey Alexander's a couple years removed now. This is not the same Creighton team, obviously, that we've been watching the last few seasons. And so with Nebraska, I'm like, it starts with Mast. Tanner, how criminally underrated is this young man?
One of the best big men in the nation right now. And the fact
He
is
has
that,
to
like,
be, right?
yeah, and the fact is that Fred Hoiberg runs everything through him. He is like the anchor of that offense, of an offense that ranks top 10 nationally in 2-point shooting and top 10 in 3-point attempt rate. They're just cooking everyone, and they don't turn the ball over. And I think he's the team leader in assists right now, or at least he's up there.
But is it fair to say, I'm just thinking, like, he just gets lost in the shuffle of the players
Well,
of the Big
Nebraska
Ten?
also has gone like under the radar so much in
Sure.
recent years because they've just been, back end. And also,
But the
he missed some
efficiency is what
time. He missed some
he
time
did
last year,
last
right?
year. Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
So
But his
everyone kind of forgot about him.
efficiency right now, Tanner, is just off the charts, man. Like, what did you
60,
say?
66% true shooting. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's shooting, I think it's 55, 55, 43, 75. That's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
it is. So, I mean, for this Nebraska team, they're exciting. They're fun. I think it's a good time to be a Husker basketball fan right now. I mean, really, when was the last time we could say Nebraska was a better basketball team than Creighton?
Yeah.
Even look, Nebraska's dealing with some injuries too, man. I mean, Connor Essegian's done for the season, right? It's not as if this is oh man, Creighton's missing some dudes. But truly, I look at this matchup, Tanner, and I say, I think Nebraska's the better team. And in years past, I may have said Creighton's the better team, but maybe Nebraska pulls this one off. I think Nebraska is just straight up a better team, and I can't tell you the last time I was able to say that. Like, I think the Huskers could be looking at, and I'm thinking very far in advance here, I think they could be looking at like an 11 or 12 seed. These are just crazy projections, but right now I think they're a top 50 team in the
Yeah.
country.
Yep.
And so obviously you got to get through a Big Ten schedule, of course, but I think I'm a bit more confident in Nebraska this year than I am Creighton. I think the head of the snake, is Mast, and then you got Price Sanford just lighting it up, shooting so well. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Tominaga, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I
A
mean,
little
not
bit.
not not totally 1-to-1, but I just think the excitement's there for Nebraska, and there's certain teams, Tanner, where you can say, look, man, I'm not going to buy into them, or certain programs, I should say. When you're 8-0 as Nebraska basketball, feel free to get excited because you don't know what's going to happen in the future once you hit conference play. But
Yeah.
you set
Yeah.
yourself up nicely.
Yeah, I've got Nebraska right now 45th nationally in my power ratings. I've got Creighton 53rd. Um,
So you would agree Nebraska's a better team right now than Creighton? Yeah.
yes. I mean, just like, mathematically in a vacuum. What I am a little worried about them in this matchup, though. And so the Greg McDermott defense, the drop coverage, very disciplined drop coverage, typically a very solid way to deny dribble handoff, off screen, and catch and shoot opportunities, which is kind of the whole point of Nebraska's offense. I mean, Creighton allows just 14 catch and shoot opportunities per game, 13th fewest nationally. And, Owen Freeman, he's not Ryan Kalkbrenner, but he's an okay drop defender. I'm not like, I thought he was part of a more systematic issue at Iowa last year. I think he's actually an okay drop defender. But where you really need to create against Creighton is on ball in the middle of the floor through ball screens and post feeds. And I don't know who does that in the Nebraska offense. Sam Hoiberg. I mean, you could probably trust Mass to post up, but I don't know if that's like what he wants to do. Now, on the other end of the court, Nebraska runs, I would say, arguably the most compact conservative defense in the nation. They pack it in, they deny the paint post at all costs, and they keep you out of transition. That's good for two reasons because it will keep the Jays out of transition. They like to run, and you won't allow Owen Freeman to just post you up to death. However, Nebraska will allow everyone to shoot. They rank 357th nationally in three-point attempt rate allowed, and Creighton will shoot the hell out of the ball. So this is a big game for Josh Dix. I think one of the most underrated guards in the nation. And also a big game for Blake Harper, Jason Green. I would love to see Nick Graves hit a few jumpers. What are you seeing matchup wise?
Yeah, matchup wise, I think the best player on the court is going to be for Nebraska, and I
Yes.
think I think Price Sanford is going to be able to find himself some open looks. Like it wouldn't surprise me if Sanford went off for a 6 to 8-0 run. Um, and so personnel wise, honestly, I know I just I might be harkening back to the old Creighton days, but they actually started slow last year. If you
Mhm.
remember, they actually
Yeah.
looked a bit disinterested in my eyes in their MTEs. Ryan Kalkbrenner wasn't getting touches, which was so weird. But of course, Greg McDermott is a remarkable coach. They turned it around, right? By their standards.
They lost this game at home last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so the point that I'm making is personnel wise, Tanner, when you look across, you're like, dang, we got to deal with Ryan Kalkbrenner, Ashworth, Jemiah Neal, right? Those guys aren't there anymore. And so the names that you had mentioned, they've been in the system for a minute. Jason Green, Isaac Trout, right?
Yep.
Do they strike fear in you as someone who's a multiple time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, right? Or
Yeah, no.
they just so I think Nebraska has the guys that have been through some of these fires. Like I say that in quotes. Like it's not like they played incredibly high level basketball, but Mast has been through this rivalry, right? Hoiberg obviously has as well. And I truly expect Price Sanford to have a great shooting night. So personnel wise, like I think I'm heavily leaning towards the Huskers. And here's the other thing I'll say, Tanner. You mentioned Creighton with some good losses. I'm going to push back on that a little bit. Nebraska might find themselves being a top 25 team at some point.
Okay.
Creighton
Wow.
got maybe I'm getting look, they're undefeated right now. That's all I'm saying.
I will say we will learn a lot about them this upcoming week because they have Wisconsin and Illinois.
That's fair.
Wisconsin at home, Illinois on the road. Like that,
And
we're going to learn a lot about this team.
we are. But the point that I'm making about Creighton is they got spanked by those three. And again, they're very good teams. I think it was Iowa State. Baylor's not a top 25 team, but they like those games
Yeah.
were not competitive. So I expect it to be a little bit more competitive here in a rivalry game. But this just and look, Creighton's got to regress at some point because they've just been such an elite program over the course of X amount of years. This might be a one more step back for them.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead with my official prediction then. And so schematically, I actually really like this matchup for Creighton. I think that the defensively they match up really well, but Nebraska's playing so well right now. They're going to have home court in this game. And I think it all comes down to whether or not Creighton makes their jumpers. You have to shoot over Nebraska's defense, and they're going to be in a hostile environment. Josh Dix, Blake Harper, Jason Green, Isaac Trout. Nick Graves are just going to have to hit a bunch of jumpers to keep in this one. I project it Nebraska minus 4.5, 152 point total. I'm going to say it finishes within that. I'm going to say it finishes high scoring game 80-78 Nebraska. That's my official prediction. What do you got?
Okay, I'm high scoring as well. I think it's going to be a little bit bigger of a margin though for the
Okay.
Huskers. Uh, like I had mentioned, Sanford, I expect him to go off, but here's the kicker, Tanner. Nebraska is such a good team at sharing the basketball.
Yes, they are.
They share the sugar, to quote Steve Lavin, I believe it is, nearly 20 assists per game. I think that's going to frustrate Creighton a bit. And when you share the basketball at home in a rivalry game, that becomes contagious. You find the open man, they hit some shot. Like that ball is going to be popping, it's going to be moving. And so I got Nebraska winning this 85-77.
Well, if you are a Nebraska basketball fan, you should be thrilled watching this video. Subi saying that they are potentially a top 25 team at some point. I don't know if I'm that bullish, but we'll see what happens in this game. I'm excited to learn a lot about Nebraska over the next week, really. Thanks for tuning in. Check back into Sleepers Media for all of your previews, recap videos. We'll be back to recap this game likely on Monday.